We are back in ZRL Division 1. It is Sunday night. We all know what that means. That is some good old ZRL action racing. And tonight we are in Zandvoort in Netherlands. I'm going to say hi to my sister. She moved from Canada to Netherlands multiple years ago. Zandvoort, the first short track that gives us multiple banked curves, 14 turns, 10 to the right and 4 to the left. With 2 DRS zones. It is a short track, 2.6 miles long, and the best overtaking opportunities we're going to be seeing are on the main street with the use of DRS, and expect some dive bombing to go around turn 1 here. First Grand Prix was held here in 1948 until 1986, and after a 36-year hiatus, F1 returned to Zandvoort in 2021, where each race has been won by the hometown hero here, Max Verstappen. There are multiple storylines to be talking about as our drivers are already starting to go out onto the track here. I am in the booth on this bright, sunny evening we have here. Nathan, welcome to the booth. Let's talk about our driver standings currently. What's the major points we got about this?
Yeah, so obviously we have Cody Lawrence with 99 points. He is 26 points clear of Quinton K at the moment. We expected him to be competing with the likes of Hudson Poole, but the big news of last week was that Hudson Poole will no longer be racing with Red Bull for the rest of the season. In his place, currently 12th place in the standings, as he did get a podium in Bahrain, Chad Swindell. So Chad Swindell is looking to be a very quick driver, so we look to see if he can climb up all the way to the top of the table. But at the moment, it looks like quite a tough challenge. We'll see what he can do tonight. But other than that, we got the Alfa Romeo of Marc-Levy Bastien in third. Eric Cavaglia, who had a great showing last week in USA, he is in fourth. Then we have the Alpine of Camembert, and a bit of an interesting story with him. He's had just good enough results where he's been in the right place at the right time. Gets him up to fifth place. Right behind him, the Aston Martin team principal, Aaron Altmaier, currently sixth place with 45 points. Then we have Philemon Goulet, the other Alfa Romeo, putting on a great show for Alfa Romeo right now, as the team has 110 points, putting them second behind Mercedes. But after that, we have Jakub Karsiewicz in the Red Bull. Then we have Luke Locklear, Ryan Newton, Marcel Pabst, Chad Swindell, as I said earlier, Hector Ochoa, Peter Giordano, Maxime Bulio, Kyle Blevins, Maxson Cube, Logan Dukes, and a new driver, Retrograde, also known as Dane Clem. He is the new driver in place of Major Castleman for Alpine. And here, we'll go to the constructor standings, then we'll have a bit of an interview with our Alpine team principal here. So, constructor standings here. We have Mercedes in first, 126 points for them. Alfa Romeo, 110 points, as I said earlier. Very good showing from them as a team overall. Then we have Williams, who have had a few shock performances of Quinton K, of course, putting in great performances. Ryan Newton also contributing that. Then we have Red Bull in fourth with 98 points. Haas with 82, Alpine and Aston Martin with 61 points, tied for 6th at the moment, then Ferrari, McLaren, and AlphaTauri. But right now, we're going to focus about the team who's tied with Aston Martin for P6, and we have their team principal right now. We are going to be bringing in Mr. Ethan Patel. Just make sure that he's ready real quick, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Ethan, who has accepted to be available for us for interviews during qualifying and during also the race to speak about Alpine and how the season is going along. And every round, the idea of this is every single round we have a different team principal or one of their engineers. Some team principals are in Division 1 here. So we're going to try to see if those kind of drivers could be there for us. And team principals are available for interviews here, so that'll be interesting as we're seeing Marcel Pabst and McLaren spinning around. Nathan, do we have any news on Ethan so far?
Yep, he is ready to come in, so I will bring him in right now. Here he is, Mr. Ethan Patel, team principal of Alpine F1.
Ethan, thank you so much for having taken some time with us in the interview booth.
Yeah, what's up?
Not much. Last season, you were in Division 2. Yeah, Division 2 as a Red Bull driver. This season, I think you're our newest team principal, being an Alpine. Before we go more about your drivers, I want to see how's it going with you and has the team principal experience been so far this season?
Been interesting. You know, I've been part of Red Bull for most of my ZRL career, and like to bring that energy to a different team and try to rebuild a team that struggled in past seasons to I mean, we've won. That team has won championships. I was there when me and Johannes won, and Peter Giordano, who's racing right now, won a championship with them. So just trying to bring them back to that glory. It's been an interesting start for sure, and I'm happy with where my guys are at so far.
Yeah, so Ethan Patel, right now you're trying to rebuild a team who's been struggling, but at the moment you have no full-time drivers for tonight. So talk us through that a little bit. Obviously we have Colin Edwards and Christmas, as we call them, two very fast drivers, but do you think they have what it takes to score some good points tonight here in Division 1?
Yeah, I mean, so we had Cam Bourne, really strong start to the season. This guy was drafted 18th pick, and he's currently P5 in the standings. So insane results from him. Obviously, Major Castleman just couldn't get it with the game. He's still engineering with our team. He's still with the team. There's no bad blood there. We have Dane Clem coming in. He wasn't planned on racing it this week, so he had a trip booked or something like that, but he'll be back ready for the rest of the season. So interesting to see what they can do. And yeah, these two are very capable drivers. I raced against them a lot, so I trust them a lot to get us good points.
Yeah, absolutely, Ethan. I think that's one of the main driver transfer stories we've had in the last couple, in the last week, right? Whereas we've had Hudson Poole, who a long time teammate of yours, as you mentioned, being a very long time with us here in Red Bull. I say us because I was there last year, but you were there much longer than I was. Now you get this new driver, Dane Clem, and or Retrograde, as we know him a little bit more under that name. What are your expectations for your new driver? Sure, he's missing this weekend, but starting next weekend, he'll start grinding and getting some points. And do you think he'll be able to keep making that push for Alpine constructors?
Yeah, I think he'll. I mean, top sevens are kind of what we believe will be like the basic minimum for him. He like when he has like a normal race, right? And then there'll be times when he could push for that podium. Maybe a win could be on the cards. We've already seen Cam Bourne get a podium, so I wouldn't put it past Retrograde to get one as well.
Absolutely, Ethan. Thank you for your time for us here. We might holler at you a little bit later during the evening, maybe during the race, and as we keep tabs on your two reserve drivers for tonight on Alpine. But thank you for your time once again.
Yeah, no problem. Y'all have a good night.
Always good to have some input from team principals, and I think this feature we're going to be adding for the rest of the season is something that'll be interesting to hear from other drivers and other team principals and see their point of view on how the team's going. And last week we seemed to kind of start a little bit of a party there with talking about driver transfers, right? And it kind of triggered a couple transfers indeed. And so Nathan and I were looking qualifying wise, we're missing two drivers, and I'm trying to figure out. There's obviously a couple reserves tonight. You mentioned the Alpine drivers. We're seeing Freddy Rizal, who's usually in Division 2, an ex-Division 1 driver. He does have a Division 1 win under his belt from last season. He is replacing in the Williams, currently sitting P17. He doesn't really have a lap put in. Marcel Green, I think, also left the Division 1 grid, and so we're currently 18 drivers on the grid instead of 20 for the time being. And currently it's Quentin K sitting in a provisional pole with a 110.489. Expect those times to go really much slower very soon. And Chad Swindle, look at him, 110.493. So he's 4 thousandths behind Quentin K. So here's a driver who's looking to make a little bit of a statement to begin with here in qualifying.
Yeah, so right now we have his main rival, as we expect it to be. We have Cody Lawrence on his lap, but it looks like he will pit. He did start with 70% battery, as he did bottle his first lap, so into the pits goes Cody Lawrence. I think he only has one set of tires to really put in a statement lap here, or else he'll be looking to catch up to Chad Swindell, of course, or maybe even Quentin K. Speaking about Williams, of course, we have Freddie Razzle in the reserve seat, but that is only because Mr. Ryan Newton is serving a race ban with 8 penalty points. So that's a little bit more on the Williams side. And right now, Quentin K on the other side of the garage, he's doing just an absolutely amazing job this season. I mean, we've seen great performances from him overall. We've seen maybe some soccer performances, you could say that maybe he deserved a win somewhere, maybe he deserved to maybe be behind, but wherever it is that he's on track, he's been doing a great job for the Williams team.
Yeah, he's been racing winning pace so far with Williams, which we haven't seen in quite some time in Division 1. Marc-Olivier Bastien, who topples the top of the board here with a 110.3, the first driver to hit that time. Quinton K, I mean, he should have at least one win so far in the first 3 rounds of the season. And he's been doing everything right to get the win, but Cody Lawrence has just been a step better than everybody else so far, and he's starting to run away with it this season. Things could change, right? Things could change very quickly in F1. We're about to see Chad Swindle. Oh, I thought he was going to go into his finish his lap, but he's going to the pits, so he bottled that one. I'm trying to see if I can catch somebody else on their lap here. So, unfortunately for Quinton, that he doesn't really get the he doesn't have as many points as he would have probably liked, but he's still fighting for it. And Marc-Olivier Bastien is certainly heating up his rear in the standings wise, because he's also been very, very constant. I'm gonna use that word, Marc-Olivier Bastien, the Alfa Romeo. Ever since last season, he was been drafted by Buffalo Trace, who had to make quite a difficult decision, right? He kind of had to think between Marc-Olivier Bastien and Eric Cavallo. Era was doing really good in the Alfa Romeo. He was doing his best. He was giving his best performance ever in the Alfa Romeo, but at the end, it was Marc-Olivier Bastien that was the keeper. And now we have Carvalho in the Haas. Bit of a surprise. Well, speaking of Carvalho, actually, he just hit a 110.37, so he's 500 behind Marc-Olivier Bastien, his ex-teammate. Aaron Altmaier, so I think we're starting to see the times kind of go down due to track evolution. Aaron Altmaier in the Aston Martin at a 110.4, so just a 1/10 behind Eric Cavallo. Nathan, what are your expectations? How low do you think the times will be? What do you think a pole position time would probably be around this track?
Well, I mean, right now, as we've seen, it's at least going to be a 110.263. But I think if we're talking about,
Wow.
the end game of qualifying, I think we may even dip into the 109s. I mean, maybe even Cody Lawrence, because we haven't seen his true pace yet. He's 6/10 up right now on his first lap in qualifying, so we'll see what he can do as he comes to the line. I mean, surely he's got the pace to be pole position tonight, so maybe he can give us a bit of a benchmark of what to see in the next couple of minutes here. Just by the way, on the weather side of things, it's going to be dry for the race as well, so no interference with weather, and 110 at 186. Yeah, like I said, the 109s are
Wow.
only looking closer to being possible right now.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing the 109s, and I don't think we had any 109s in Division 2, at least from what I saw earlier quickly. Missile Paz, the last one to cross the line here, putting himself P7, the eruption. I'm trying to find somebody who's going to be on their starting lap here, and I think I may have... No, Freddy just finished his lap. Let's see if Maxim, he's also on the end of his lap. Because, Nathan, this is despite being a short track, this is still a track that has its technicalities and its challenges, right? So I'm trying to catch a driver here that could bring us on a fast lap, and I think everyone's going to be on their slowdown / entry lap. So, but I want to go on board with a driver with you and have you talk us through how the drivers have to take this lap, because this could be really interesting. Important to have a good qualifying position here in Zandvoort, where there's not many overtaking opportunities. I spoke earlier about the Turn 1, and Turn 1 has seen many incidents throughout ZRL races here in Zandvoort, so we could expect the beginning of the race to be maybe a little bit chaotic, right? Especially through Sector 1, but at some point it kind of just settles down into DRS train, and it's not always easy to overtake. So I wanted to see if you could talk us through that. Who's just triggered a yellow sector? That is Freddy. And the curbs too, and the banked curbs. That is not an easy spot to get his mojo back, get his car back on track there. But he's gonna be able to get into the pits, and soon enough we're gonna have somebody crawling out of the pits for their outlap. I'm expecting some drivers to hit it at a 3-minute mark. I think maybe somebody wants to get some clean air really early in the qualifying.
Yeah, if you don't mind, my man of choice for the hot lap will be none other than Chad Swindell, our newest
why
driver
not?
here. One of him, and it looks like he is out right now. No, that's his teammate, Jakub
That's his teammate.
Karswich, with the Mercedes of, is that Cody Lawrence right behind him? No, it is Hector Ochoa. So these are the first two to be on their hot laps that we will see very soon. Maybe running into a bit of traffic because on this track, as we've seen already in this qualifying session, it is a bit difficult to get out of the way of people on their hot lap. We had I think it was Magnussen Cube obstructing a Red Bull early on in qualifying. But yeah, we have more people going out now. It's Chad Swindell is now out, so we may be able
Let's
to go on board with him.
keep the camera on him, on Chad Swindell, who's going to give us. He was on his out lap and is going to give us in a moment his fast lap. Nathan, you'll be able to get on board with him and walk us through it. But I believe it's Freddie Rizal, actually, who had an incident with one of the McLarens and does have a 5 grid place penalty currently. So he is starting, if he were to finish P11 right now, he would be starting P16. And so, drivers, traffic and drivers, they've got to watch out for each other. You have to be aware as, is that Williams in front of Chad Swindell? I don't know who that was, who kind of knocked out one of the boards telling you the distance to the braking zone. And so hopefully these guys know their braking points without the board, because there's one missing out there.
Yeah, so on that incident with Marcel Paps and Freddie Rizal, Marcel Paps was on a racing line. There are 2 racing lines that are actually different, Freddie Rizal and Marcel Paps, and they had a collision, but it doesn't matter now, as we're going to go on board with Chad Swindell on his second hot lap, I think, of this qualifying session on the battery very early, taking a very short line to the line. So now the lap starts. He's going to go into this right-hander. It's a hairpin, braking around the 50-meter board, 4th gear early on the power as you can, because of a little bit of banking, then up through the gears, a little bit of downshift here, and through the very, very tight banking hairpin right here. Easy on the power as you exit. Gets a good exit right now. As we see this little tight windy section, easy flat out for the F1 car. He is 3,000ths up on his previous time. He'll need to improve a bit more, and he hasn't. I don't think that he will continue this lap. I don't know if he has any other choice as he spins now, so bit of a rocky start for Chad Swindell, and the news is that he will not be able to get another lap in for this session. So Chad Swindell, P6, unless other people can improve behind him. So who else will we go on board with his teammate, Jakub Karswich, just won P7 for himself. I think man of choice will be Freddie Rizal, because he's going to have some exciting stuff for him. A man fighting to be 5 positions up from where he is, just to stay the position that he is right now. So he's going through this right-hander. It's a bit easy to lose, and we see cars off the track just trying to get out of the way through this left-hand hairpin. Another car lost it, actually. So the second DRS zone, not really an overtaking opportunity here, but into this tight chicane where it's a right-hander, then a left-hand hairpin with a bit of banking as well. A lot of banking on this track. 3rd gear, 4th gear now. He's climbing through the gears. This very tricky right-hander. If you go on the throttle a bit too early, you can get on the curb and soon, but he doesn't. Taking the banking very nicely, opens up the exit, and to the line he goes. What will it be for Freddie Rizal? It will be a 1:10.558. But that is not the end of qualifying session, as Eric Cavalli goes fastest with a 1:09.892. As I said, we are into the 1:09s now. Will anyone be able to contest him in the 1:09s? I don't think they will, as Cody Lawrence is out of the session. Quentin K has not been able to get into the 1:09s. Neither has Marc-Olivier Bastian. So I think we have seen, for the first time this season, an Eric Cavalli pole position here. Yes, we have, because Hector Ochoa, the last one on the hot lap, is going into the pits now. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time this season, Eric Cavalli is on pole position with a time of 1:09.892. He's 2/10ths clear of everyone behind him. He knows that in this race, he's going to need to keep that position, and if he doesn't, then it's going to be a very tough race for him. I don't know if John Ranger is actually here with me at the moment.
I sure was, but my mic was muted for some reason. Thank you, Nathan, for taking over. So we have two 5 grid place penalties given to Marcel Paps and Freddy Rizal. Eric Cavallo in the Haas is the first time pole position this season, followed by Cody Lawrence, Quentin Kay, who abandoned their last laps and didn't improve on their times. Marc-Olivier Bastien is P4 with a 1:10.3. Aaron Altmaier P5. Both Red Bulls 6 and 7. Chad Swindle on the first time Red Bull being in P6. Colin Edwards, the replacement for Cam Bourne, is P8. McLaren, Williams, and Ferrari follows. Actually, that's going to be a bit of a mix-up since Marcel Paps and Freddy Rizal has the penalty, and that will pretty much sum up your top 10. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not liked and subscribed the channel yet, please do so right now. On my part, it's time to open one. We're about to get racing here. Nathan, it's time for you to get your apple juice box and your Dunkaroos, because this is going to be quite some excitement today.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get my drink right now. Actually, here I'll be right back.
That's important. I have a good time here in the ZRL booth, ladies and gents. Casual T-posing moment for our pit crews. This is the yoga stretch we're seeing from them. Clear skies so far in Zandvoort as the drivers are getting ready. A little bit of clouds, but still clear skies and high track temperatures. This will be an interesting one because Turn 1 tends to have some chaos, and history-wise in Division 1 we've had some incidents. I'm thinking of the likes of Luke Locklear and Hudson Poole, I believe was 2 seasons ago or so here in Zandvoort. Haven't seen Luke Locklear tonight, so I don't think he is actually on, and Hudson Poole, with his latest retirement, won't be racing. The lights are starting to go out. Will Eric Carvalho be able to get the proper start he needs? And away they go, Eric Cavallo in the Haas. We're going to go on board with him. Will he be able to get the start he wants? As Cody Lawrence, who gets the inside, he's able to get the jump on him. Will he be able to keep it? Side by side they go. So far, a great clean start from all the drivers here. And Cody Lawrence takes the lead from the Haas driver. Eric Cavallo drops it. And almost a little bit of a contact here with Quentin Kay. And somebody's around in the back. I believe that is Magnussen Cube in the AlphaTauri. Quentin Kay also got the jump on Marc-Olivier Bastien, so it looks like there was a favorable side for one side on the track compared to the others. And Eric Cavallo and Marc-Olivier Bastien lose some positions. Chad Swindle, who was P6, gained a position as well. And Jacques Karswich lost one. Colin Edwards, a reserve driver for Alpine, look at him in P6, gained 2 positions. A great start for him, given his current division. And really great for him, but unfortunately for the AlphaTauri driver, Magnussen Cube, he's lost it and he's now way behind. Other than that, it's been a really clean start to the race, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, back on the incident with Magnussen Cube, he's lost part of his wing and simply punted as Hector Ochoa has lost it in the left-hander. So he's going to be very far behind. He's going to be overtaken by Magnussen Cube even. I wonder, can Magnussen Cube continue? It looks like his left end plate is not with him anymore, so he will be pitting as we have, I believe, some overtakes being made into Turn 1 at the moment. So we go back to the race start now, and obviously we see a couple things. We see Cody Lawrence making the pass for the lead. The question is, can Eric Cavallo stay with him? At the moment, Cody Lawrence is using a lot more battery than Eric Cavallo at the moment. So 87% for Era, 70, even less for Cody Lawrence. Then Quentin Kay and Marc-Olivier Bastien holding their positions 3rd and 4th respectively. Then Chad Swindell, a man who we've been looking at all night. He's even closing up on Marc-Olivier Bastien right now. I think we'll be able to see him get into P4 once DRS is enabled, or maybe even before that. And then, yeah, like you said, the reserve driver for Colin Edwards for Alpine, he is P6 right now, in 2 positions. Aston Martin team principal, he's lost 2 positions. So now you want to see if you are Aaron Altmaier. But at the moment, we just got very clean battles, as that is a Ferrari around. That is Peter Giordano. No damage for him. That might have changed just now.
Might have just changed.
The wall again. Yeah. So that is another big loser combined with Magnussen Cube as well.
It's interesting so far this season, Nathan. There's multiple drivers in Division 1 who I remember used to be top dogs in Division 1, and the likes of Duncan McCamick, who's had to who's decided to take a break this season to manage Red Bull completely. You know, now we're seeing Peter Giordano, also team principal in Ferrari. It seems he's just not very lucky lately, and gets into these terrible situations and finds himself already pitting for the mediums and is behind in P17, right? Even Maxime Beaulieu a couple races ago, and Maxime Beaulieu currently is getting 2 positions. He's currently sitting P9. He's another driver who's not been so lucky as of late with losing multiple positions and having some issues. Hopefully we could see him have a little bit more of a better race. I saw Kyle Blevins also losing positions, having a moment in turn 7 in the AlphaTauri. So 2 AlphaTauri spinning within the first 3 laps. Not something Fitz wants to be seeing as a team principal here in Division 1.
Yeah, so right now, even though it doesn't seem too common, we have a DRS train that spans all the way back to P13, I believe it is.
Yep.
So, pretty impressive that the drivers have been able to follow through here. I mean, it's crucial that you do, though, because in the DRS train you gain a bit more battery, where in this track, gaining the battery is just so unlikely, at least not at a quick rate. So, yeah, just Eric Carvalho, even if he could go faster at the moment, I think it's just faster to be just sticking behind Cody Lawrence, waiting for an error maybe, and just sticking in the DRS to get a bit more battery. Even though he's got 90%, I think it's just a smarter thing to do at the moment. I'm thinking that maybe we see an overtake from Marcel Papp sooner or later, because he's putting the most pressure on the guy ahead, who is Maxime Beaulieu right now. Driver who we've seen had many incidents himself. Right now, he is 15th in the standing. He's had, yeah, just like I said, not too many good performances here. At least he's had the commitment to finish each race that he started in so far, though. So good job from Maxime Beaulieu.
Looks like Peter Jana went back into the pits, and I'm wondering if he had that instance of potentially his wing nut being changed like it was supposed to be changed. So he is back into the pits on the hards as well. So maybe he'll try, I guess, to make the hards last until the end of the race, or until a potential safety car. Zoro Carvalho gets the fastest lap of the race, and I think Carvalho did a great thing here. He's quite closer to Cody Lawrence in a position, in an attack position now. Cody tried to use a little bit more ERS to get away from Eric Carvalho, but Carvalho so far looks like he's got the better pace on him. He's been saving a lot more battery, and he'll be potentially looking at making an overtaking move in the next couple laps, most probably down the main straight. That is the best place on this track to make an overtake happen. Otherwise, you're just slowing yourself down so much that you open up for yourself, make yourself vulnerable basically to any other driver behind you to try to do an overtake.
We got an amazing battle between Freddie Rizal and Maxime Beaulieu right now. I think Maxime will have to concede, but going around the outside, I believe turn 4 it is, the very swooping right-hander going around the outside. Freddie Rizal, amazing overtake from the Williams driver. I have some information for Peter Giordano. You were right to assume that the wing damage did not change, and that is exactly what happened. So, at the moment, we have, the DRS train's been broken up a little bit. Quinton K and Marc Valerio Bastian. Actually, hold on, never mind.
Everyone's about 0.5, 0.7 between each other, so the DRS train is going from Cody Lawrence in P1 all the way down to Marcel Paps in P9, as Maxime Beaulieu is also losing another position, and this one is to Philemon Goulet, another French-Canadian driver in the Alfa Romeo, who are driving with 2 French-Canadians this season, with Marc-Olivier and Philemon. Maxime Beaulieu, another French-Canadian as well, losing position to Goulet here. And so in the last couple laps, we were talking about Maxime Beaulieu potentially having a good start of the race here. Starting P11, he climbed up to P8, I believe, at some point, P9, and now he's dropped back down to P12. And so he's going a little bit more backwards, and in a moment's time, potentially, Logan Dukes, who's actually currently, I was going to say the only driver, but after an incident, Magnussen Cube switched to the medium. So we have Logan Dukes, Magnussen Cube, who are the only 2 drivers on the grid on the medium tires currently. Everybody else is on the hards. Nathan, what about strategy? What is the strategy going on in Zandvoort here?
Right, so like any other track, the main strategy is hard to medium. Obviously, a few drivers here tonight on the alternate strategy, but the hard tires, I think you'll want to be pitting around lap 20 if you want to do an undercut, through about lap 23 at the latest, I'd say. I've heard that the overcut is somewhat powerful here. It'll gain you about a second, but other than that, I think just normal pit strategy will do you the best of work here. If you're starting on the medium tires, I think it's going to be around 16 laps that the tires will start to go, and then you want to pick quickly, because the medium tires on this game have a very quick and noticeable drop off, so you want to be careful about that if you're on the medium tires. At the moment, everyone that is really playing a part in this race so far on the hard tires, so nothing too much to worry about.
Nathan, I want to point out something that really just tells about how interesting and how fun Division 1 is here in ZRL. The top 7 drivers, if I'm looking at this correctly, the top 7 drivers are all from a different team.
So, what are you saying by this?
I'm just saying, it's the parity in the league so far. You know, we look at the constructors and we look at the points and whatnot. Any team could beat any team despite having a draft order, and that's it. Just I think it's a testament to the quality of the drivers that we have here in ZRL and Division 1 especially, where our top 7 could be not that far apart. We have a DRS train going on right now, slowly kind of getting broken up. Oh, Makili Bassin is looking on the outside of Quentin K and almost made a move through the outside. That didn't happen for him here. So Makili Bassin is on the attack mode here. He's trying to go up on the bank curve on turns 3 and to try to get himself a little bit of momentum, and that doesn't happen still. So here, back to my point, Nathan. What I'm saying is that top 7 is all in different teams. You have 10 different teams in this league, and 7 out of the 10 of those teams are in the top 7. And so that kind of gives you just an idea of how close the battle is. And I think year in, year out, you know, we saw like Aston Martin a couple of years back, they weren't doing so hot, and now they're probably one of the best teams 2 seasons in a row in ZRL, and that could change quickly. We're seeing Williams. Look at this. Quentin K. When was the last time you saw Williams driving P3 and battling for wins in the league? Same thing for Haas. Eric Cavallo is doing great work with the Haas. And I'm hoping as I'm saying their names, I'm not broadcast cursing them as I'm doing so.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the battery right now between these top 5 drivers here. So right now, Chad Twindell and Eric Cavallo have the most battery, and it looks like Eric Cavallo will be using that battery to get an overtake done around the outside into turn 1. Will he be able to make it sick around the outside of Cody Lawrence? He will not. It looks like he can tease the position. We have a yellow flag somewhere. I don't know if that's
Freddie Rizal, who's lost it in the Williams, so he's dropped down to P16. P16
Yeah,
and
so
going into the pits.
Yep, as you get to a 5-second time penalty. Anyways, back to the battery thing I was talking about. We have Eric Cavallo, who's used up a bit of his battery now just to try and make an overtake happen. He's about even with Chad Swindell. But then we have Marc-Olivier Bastien, Quentin K, and Cody Lawrence all around that 30% battery mark. So I wonder, will Eric Cavallo will be just trying to save his battery and maybe make an overtake before the pit strategy starts working, or will he go for even an undercut or an overcut? Whatever it is, I think we have a great race brewing on our hands here.
Yeah, I think Eric Cavallo is in a position where he could dictate the strategy that's going to happen, right? Cody Lawrence could try to cover the undercut on Era, but Era could just continue going on for the proper strategy. And if I remember correctly, I'd have to go look in the past couple seasons, but Era's really good on Zandvoort. I have a vague memory of him having a great race in Zandvoort, maybe possibly even winning. I'm not 100% sure. He has another look down on the inside on Cody Lawrence, but doesn't really make it happen. But both of these drivers are... It's a bit of a cat and mouse kind of game that's going on between Cody and Era, right? They're trying to conserve battery, but Era's kind of also trying to bait Cody into using that extra ERS so that he could gain the advantage eventually. That's what Era wants to do, right? If he wants to go for the overtake, what you want to do is try to give Cody the impression that you're on ERS on the back straight and trying to go for the overtake. That'll force Cody to use his ERS in a defensive move and eventually run out. There's a 30% gap difference between Era and Cody, and so if Era's able to make it work, he'll be able to go forward and overtake Cody with some ERS remaining, which he might consider using to break that ERS train, at least for P1, P2, because that's what's happening right now. Is Cody is really just trying to defend from Era. He's not trying to break that gap or get that 1 second gap as he would like to do under different circumstances, different tracks. But right now there's a 6/10 difference between him and Era. Look how Era is going to be able to, without any ERS here, is able to close that gap by almost 3/10 here. And so if at some point through turn 14, if Era's able to be about 3 to 4/10 closer, behind Cody, he'll be able to get close enough to him to think about an overtake in turn 1 by the end of the front start-finish straight.
Yeah, even the section they're going through right now, the very twisty part where it's very narrow, but at the same time, if you take a highline, like we've seen a few drivers do, if he takes that highline, gets on the battery, I think that maybe he might even have the cojones to go for a move right there. But it's really up to the drivers here because, it's very risky to go for an overtake there. We saw it happen last night with X-Max, who's currently 13th, and yours truly. So it is possible for sure, but it's really just about, do you have the guts to make that overtake happen? With 86% batteries, actually regained quite a bit, as I was talking about earlier. If you're in the DRS, then that is bound to happen. I've just seen an overtake happen on the leaderboard with Colin Edwards, I think. I'm not sure if that's true. Um, Anyways, we'll go back to this, five-way battle here at the front. So we're kind of focusing on Eric Cavallio and Cody Lawrence right now. But I've seen that Quentin K is slowly creeping up on Eric Cavallio here. But as you just saw, he is using his battery just a tiny bit more than everyone else here. So maybe putting himself at a disadvantage for no good reason. Would you say that?
I mean, if you want to use that much ERS, you've got to make it work, right? And if he's using it just to keep up the pace with Era, I think eventually we're going to see Era break away him and Cody from that pack behind him, because down to P5, at least a little chat Swindle. Colin Edwards not too far behind, by the way. He's having a great race as a reserve driver in that Alpine. But that top 5 right now, they're kind of just being patient with each other, trying to manage and figure out who's doing what in regards to a strategy. And there's a sector yellow flag. Oh, is that Peter Giordano around again? And that is turn 14. Doesn't look like there's damage, but careful, there's a ghosted car. Blue flag's being waved. He's being lapped by the main group, and here he goes in the pits. Oh, I wonder if he's going to go for repairs or if he's going for retirement here, because that is not the race he wants. And that is it. That is it for Peter. He is retired. P18, not the race. Absolutely not the race he was hoping to get. And that's another difficult race for the Ferrari team principal. And there's another Ferrari absent, Luke Lockley, who is not there. And so that is 0 points tonight for Ferrari. And that's going to hurt them, because we spoke to Alpine earlier. At least I know one person who's going to be really happy with them is Ethan Patel, where Alpine is just a little bit ahead of Ferrari in the constructor standings, and now they're going to be way more ahead, especially if Colin Edwards keeps the performance he's giving us tonight.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we could bring him in for an interview later if he's available to do so. But yeah, like you said, Ferrari 0 points today. I mean, as a Ferrari driver myself, it's I can't be disappointed in them, because I know the effort that they put in to make the other divisions be as fast as they are right now. I know that they've been just trying their best to sustain a team who can fight for podiums each race. I think they've done a good job of that overall. But yeah, it's tough to have results like this. Luke Locklear obviously not here today to be helping with the point scoring. I think he could be fighting for maybe even a podium right now, but just can't tell with what's going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, still Cody Lawrence in the lead of the race. Eric Cavallo's trying to keep up with him in the Haas, and he's doing so brilliantly while harvesting his battery so far as having an absolute beast of a race. Quentin K is not too far behind him. He's trying to put pressure on Era, but that hasn't worked out for him so far, and he's got to be careful, because Marc-Olivier Bassin is just waiting to pounce on him eventually. And Chad Swindle, who's got a first-time race in the ZRL Division 1 here, this time for Red Bull in replacement of Hudson Poole. He's currently sitting P5 and following closely behind Marc-Olivier, trying to find the right position, the right moment, the right time to go on the offensive here. And that top 5 group is really just doing what they got to do. And whenever there's a move that does happen, if somebody slows down up front, all the drivers behind will just be waiting to potentially make a move. But if you look at the gap difference, and I think Era is having a little bit of a look on the inside. Is he going to go for it? Oh, he's thinking about it. Cody had to brake so late to keep that advantage. And you saw Era had used a lot more ERS there to attack Cody. And Cody was able to successfully defend. And a little bit of there on the front straight, you saw Cody and Era kind of pulling away from Quentin and Marc-Olivier for a little bit. And after the couple turns 2s and 1 and 2, they're back on each other's rear. So it's such a difficult track to overtake, and when you want to go for that overtaking, you've got to make it count. Otherwise, you lose a lot of time. And now Era's got a lot less battery, and looks like Cody didn't really use that much ERS to defend either. So now you're looking at both of them, the 30% gap between them in regards to power charge is now down to about 15%. And Quinton almost got a look on Era. He's much more aggressive currently. Quinton's looking to make the move work on Era currently. To see if he's going to be able to go. Is he going to go on the ERS? He doesn't seem to go on. He's just following him along. Era is not close enough to Cody to make a move. I don't think. Absolutely not. And neither is any driver behind. So right now we're just settled. There's not a lot of overtaking being done here. Currently, this is a lot of patience and DRS trains going on. We've seen these kinds of races before, Nathan, in Division 1, and just hang on to your seat, people, because once the race, or once we get through the pit strategies, which we might start seeing the pits in a couple laps there, at least for the medium runners, things are gonna start to heat up. And once drivers start to get a little bit impatient and they get a little bit too motivated to do those kind of overtakes here on this track, then we might see some incidents and sparks might fly.
Yeah, I mean, right now we need to just wait a little bit, because I think when the pit strategy starts to open up a little bit, I think that drivers will be looking to make overtakes a bit more quickly, because they'll gain a bit more battery in the pit lane, so they have some to spare as they go into these few laps before the pit stop starts happening. And we see that right now, maybe with Eric Carvalho. He goes on the battery once again. I don't think he'll be able to capitalize off that though, because he's not gaining quite enough just to be making an overtake just yet. It would have been crazy if he went for a dive bomb right there. Definitely not a legal move at all, but yeah, so just
Nathan, I know another Haas driver in Division 1 who would make that move if he had that chance, but he's not here racing tonight. He's got a race ban, probably for making too many of those moves that didn't work out. I'm talking about an Entrevetti here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think an Entrevetti would be this quick to stay up here, though.
Was it an or is it the other Haas driver? Who was the other Haas driver's name? I always make.
We don't actually have one right now.
Yeah, it was Haas. Yeah, I was thinking about. Goodness, I'll get back to you on that. It's a Williams driver, actually. We used to be Haas, but I keep mixing both of those drivers up. By the way, Philemon Goulet, currently P15. Why is he in P15, you ask? Well, he's on the medium tires. He's the first of the hard runners to go into the pit. So he's trying the mega undercut, which is like a regular undercut, except you do it extra early. And that's what he's going to try to do. So he's a little bit... I'm thinking maybe a little bit too early. What do you think, Nathan?
Well, yeah, like you said, it's an undercut, but the only difference is that, well, it's mega. We actually see a few more drivers pitting right now, so maybe it's not as mega as we see all going onto the medium tires right now. So, maybe they're pitting just a bit earlier than we expected. 19 laps to go, 18 laps now on these tires. Will they be able to make it happen? As we have maybe just a little bit of a battle between Jakub Karswich and Marcel Paps, but Jakub Karswich, he took a bit of too much of an inside line, so didn't let him get the best of exits, but a wheel spin on the exit. But we actually might have, is that another incident with Freddie Resdell? Yes, it is. He spun I think this is his third time spinning on this banking section right now, where it's very hard to
spun in qualifying too, eh?
And he's hit the wall as well when he tried to recover onto the track, so, you know, just Freddie being Freddie, I guess. Yeah, we go back. So all these drivers who just pitted, they've actually kind of not pitted into the good position right now. Quite a bit of traffic, especially with Hector Ochoa in front of Chad Swindell right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at currently, Nathan, and that's probably one of the lesser situations you want to have, is having a Mercedes splitting the Red Bull of Chad Swindell and Quinton K. Oh, Quinton K. Oh, the heartbreak, the 5-second speeding penalty. And he's being held up. I'm seeing real here. He's being held up by another Williams too. So is that the Williams of Freddie Rozelle? So Freddie kind of held him up a little bit, unfortunately. And so Quinton K's race just took a turn for the worse. Oh my goodness. So that is a 5-second penalty. I'm wondering if he just served it or if I just don't see it on the board. Oh, okay, there it is. So yeah, he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And the driver was looking at a podium will now have to work extra hard if he wants to potentially gain that back. But that might not be possible for him tonight with that 5 seconds with the grid being so close together. So not a lot of hard tire runners currently out on track. It's Hector Ochoa, Eric Cavallo, Jakub Karsowicz, and Max in P3 currently. I think the key driver in this who controls everything is Era. He's going around the bend here, turn 14. Will he go into the pits? He's really pushing it on the ARS, so I'm thinking he will, and he does. Will he be careful? Yeah, so I think what's picking people up is the pit's limiter speed is at 60 kilometers an hour compared to 80, which is a standard for most tracks. But some tracks, like the likes of Monaco and Zandvoort and France, a little with the tighter pit straights, they go out for 60, and so Era now is going to come out of the pits. The question is, where is he going to come out of? Will the overtake work? And it did. So he is out in front of Cody Lawrence. He's only got Max in front of him, who's going to have to pit any lap now. So that's going to be done deal for him. His tires got to warm up here, but Cody Lawrence, with similar ERS battery, finds himself behind Eric Cavallo. The undercut didn't work for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see the pace difference right now with the cold tires on the Haas right now. He might be looking to challenge Eric Cavallo, because this might be the only opportunity he has to do so. At the moment, about equal on the battery right now. But we had the same thing happen with Marc-Olivier Bastien and Chad Swindell earlier with Cody Lawrence right ahead. So I think with what we saw from that battle, we'll see Eric Cavallo stay ahead. For now, we have an incident back. That's Hector Ochoa, who spun around in that very tricky right-hander. Looks like maybe got in the grass on the entry. Is that another incident for Freddie Razel in the same corner?
Wow.
Yes, it is.
We're going to be careful here. Eric Cavallo's going to have to defend against Cody Lawrence. Cody Lawrence is trying to do so, but he's also has to defend against the Alfa Romeo. And here it is. There's going to be a battle between Marc-Olivier Bastien and potentially the Red Bull. And now the drivers decide to be a little bit more mature about this racing opportunity, because going side by side here could be really tricky. And in the end, it is Eric Cavallo, Cody, Marc-Olivier, and Chad. And so that is it. That is the order currently for them. So no change in order, although they were side by side for a moment. And we're seeing Freddie Razel with a DNF here. He's retired in the pits after multiple spins in turn 14. We've seen it all night in qualifying, in racing. That Williams driver is not going to do any better than that. And so he is retiring into the pits. That is two drivers. And Nathan, we've been seeing it, right? Even in qualifying, one of the reasons Era got pole position is because Cody Lawrence, because Chad Swindell abandoned their very final lap due to mistakes. And is it... What's going on in Zandvoort? Is it the grip level on this track? Is it the trickiness? Is it the bank curves that are giving you the illusion that you've got extra grip, and as soon as you go on the throttle, you just lose it? Why are drivers spinning around on this lap, on this track so much?
Yeah, that last reason you gave really just nailed it on the mark right there. It's just, you know, the bank curves. It seems like you have a lot of grip because you're traveling at a bit higher speed if they were just than if they were just flat, but it's still like getting on the power, especially as we're on board with like Cody Lawrence right now, and he goes through this corner, gets on the power very early, but it's very easy to have a moment there, especially when you get on the batter just a little bit early. So I think that's a main issue, and especially that turn 14, I think it is the one right before the big bank curve. It's just like, it's very difficult just to get it right all the time, because if you drift a bit wide on the exit and you get onto that exit curve, there's almost no chance that you're gonna be making it out alive. I'm assuming that's what happened to Freddie Razel, but yeah, I'd say that's a main issue. Obviously, just a lack of traction could be the issue too. But with a dry track and a sunny day like this, I don't think that would be as big of an issue as just, you know, the illusion of being on the throttle too early with these bank curves here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're keeping an eye on the top 5 drivers currently. Aaron Altmaier and the Aston Martin having a great race for them currently. The team principal in P5, Colin Edwards in P6. Quentin K's race just got into shambles a little bit with that 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And now after the pit strategy, he finds himself in a bit of no man's land with Jakub Karsowicz, the secondary driver for Red Bull, starting to creep up on him. And Quentin is maybe trying to push his car a little too much. He completely mixes apex in turn 1 here, and Jakub really has been gaining on him for a little bit. Oh, is there another driver around turn 14? And there is. Logan Dukes in the McLaren has lost it going into just on the outside of turn 13. I don't know if he's got damage. He looks like he does. He's going to be pitting as well. Let's see if he's going to get a new wing this time. Yeah, he's going for a new wing, so he does have damage. He's going for the new wing. A lot of drivers spinning around that between turns 13 and 14. And so far, with everything going on, Eric Cavallo, he's got himself a 6/10 lead between him and Cody Lawrence. And the top four are not in position of really attacking each other so far. Except maybe Quentin, who's going to be... I thought Quentin was going to be under attack by Jakub, but he's kind of gained his lead again. Compared, so Quinton's really keeping on the pace so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a normal game of cat and mouse now. I mean, we've seen that these drivers all have pace to be on level terms with each other. They all have definite pace to be in the lead of the race right now. But it's just, you know, where they've been, where they qualified. It's just going to be difficult to be gaining in positions now, especially with this DRS train that everyone wants to stay in. So they'll be pushing a bit harder just to do so, which means it's harder to follow them. So, just, yeah, right now, I'd say that we'd have to wait for anything exciting to happen, maybe some fights in the back, but other than that, these drivers in the front, I think they're just going to try and play it safe. Cody Lawrence may be trying to save the battery a little bit. He's got 34% right now. If he just saves it up a little bit, waits for the end to make an overtake, I think that maybe he has a good chance of winning this race, as we've seen him do before, actually. Don't know if it was Bahrain, Singapore, or Coda that we saw him get a last lap overtake, I think it was. But yeah, it just shows that he has absolute potential to be, you know, just lurking for the most of the race, then get an overtake done in the final lap. And I actually think it was it was exactly like this. It was Eric Cavallo and Cody Lawrence and Coda. It was last lap, Cody Lawrence overtook Eric Cavallo, and it was just heartbreak for the man I wanted to win. But yeah, that's just me, because honestly, I don't want Cody Lawrence to be winning all these races. No offense to Cody, but it's just not exciting when you have a winner every time, like Max Verstappen.
Yeah, that's what's going on currently, and as the story of the season so far is Cody Lawrence. His closest competitor for the beginning of the season was Hudson Poole, and Hudson just didn't really seem to feel it at the beginning of the season and wasn't having the performance we thought he'd be having, and combined that with hardware issues with his wheel as well. And now we're down a man in a Red Bull, replaced by Chance Riddle, who's currently sitting P4. Is a very respectable, very good result for him to begin with. We were told he was a driver with a lot of pace and definitely had the potential to be in the top 5, and so far he's showing it. Quick shout out to his teammate Jakub Karstowicz as well, right? He, newer driver as well. Often sat, I would say, near the bottom 10. Currently sitting P8. He's having a very respectable race. If he keeps the gap between him and Quentin, he'd finish P7, and I think that would be his best finish tonight, if he could keep it as is for the next 10 laps. And so shout out for him. Shout out to Aaron Altmaier as well, and the Aston Martin, who's also having a great race, keeping up with Chad Swindle in the DRS. So you never know in the top 5, if there's an incident that happens, a spin, or 2 drivers starting to fight, you might find yourself with them. But looks like all these drivers are, well, especially Aero for defensive purposes, and Aaron trying to keep up with Chad has been using a lot more ERS than lately. And in the back, I think I just saw, Hector Ochoa getting overtaken by Magnussen Q, but it looks like Magnussen's gonna have to defend. Hector is gonna try it on the inside. He's got the battery, and he took a look there and kind of misses his apex. I don't know if he got squeezed out by Magnussen there, but Magnussen comes out on top, and into turn 3 they go.
Yeah, so right now I think this is going to be a perfect time to bring the man on once again that we asked in qualifying how his drivers are doing. We're going to ask him once again. This is Mr. Ethan Patel, team principal of Alpine F1 team. How's your night so far?
Good. Pretty solid.
Oh, Ethan, can you maybe just get closer to your mic, because...
Oh, there we go.
Yes, there you go. Much better. I was wondering. It was not me this time. Yeah, so how's the night going?
Yeah, so Colin P6, Max in P12, pretty solid in those positions.
P11 right now, actually. He's made an overtake on Maxime Bolia.
Oh, nice. A bit behind, but yeah, no, just solid results from reserves, right?
Absolutely. Ethan, you were told me earlier tonight you were not the one engineering your team tonight, and I know for a fact that you're definitely a decent engineer out there in the Discord channels. So, who's your engineer or engineers for your reserve drivers tonight, if they have any?
So yeah, no. So Colin typically tends to do his own thing, I believe, and Max is in with Mercedes. They have two guys in there, so they're kind of just chilling by themselves. Yeah, I normally help out when it's my main guys, but they kind of these reserves kind of just figured it out on themselves.
Absolutely. What's the word on Colin Edwards?
Oh, what do you mean?
I mean, how do you think his performance is going?
Oh, great. You know, he was able to stick with Aaron for a bit. Aaron kind of used everything to get to that next pack. He has Quentin behind him, who I think will catch him, but with that 5-second time penalty, and the nature of this track, it might be difficult for him to actually pass Colin. So I think Colin's pretty safe in P6 or 7.
Yeah, so right now going into the next round, if the positions stand as they are right now, you're about level pegging with Aston Martin, who are you currently tied with right now. Other than them, do you have any other rivals in Division 1 right now?
Well, the Aston Martin fight, you know, these two are reserves, so they will only get half points, so it won't be as close. But you know, our main rival, we don't really have rivals. We kind of just want to work our way through the field. So we want to see, we honestly want to see the good teams really dominate and see the bottom teams kind of struggle, and that way we could kind of build up against these lower end teams and fight towards the top teams. Basically, we want the top teams to take away points from the lower tier teams.
It's an interesting way to look at it, Ethan. But currently, one of your rivals being Ferrari, who's now having a good season so far. They're gonna have 0 points tonight. So normally a top team finds themselves probably near the bottom of the constructors right now. How are you guys looking through at that? And now you're also fighting Aston Martin really closely, and currently, I think you're sitting literally tied, right? You have Colin Edwards right behind Aaron, and and you have Max in front of Max, and the Aston Martin. So you guys might find yourself again tied if you keep the positions as is for the next 7 laps.
Yeah, like I said earlier, though, these guys are reserved, so it'll only be half points.
Oh yeah, shoot.
Yeah, but it's still good result. And then yeah, Ferrari doing bad is it's been consistent throughout most of the divisions besides Division 2, which is good. It means that they'll fall down the order potentially for the draft and get close to the midfield, get closer to us, and maybe we could battle them this season or maybe even next season.
Yeah, so one final question from me at least. So we were talking just a little bit about the driver transfer, the new feature that came across. We've already had one from your team so far in Division 1. You know, any of the other divisions, can we expect any more transfers, or is that information you want to keep private at the moment?
On my end, I'm very happy. I know some things have been announced, some things haven't been announced. I know I've already seen some things flying across the table, but I'll keep that private for now. Just look out for Ferrari.
Wow. Okay, we've heard it here first from Ethan Patel. And I'm sure there's no Ferrari drivers currently in this booth who's feeling a little bit nervous about that, such a statement here. But Ethan, thank you for the information. Thank you for your point of view. As much during qualifying and during the race being available for us means a lot. And we'll see you possibly in another interview next season.
Yeah, no, we'll be sick. Thank you for the podcast as well.
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
Oh man, that's got me worried now. I hope I don't go to Alpine.
Well, I mean, that's just part of the game, right? And this new feature, this is the first time this season we get that driver transfer thing going on, right? It's not something you normally see mid-season in real life F1, but you do see that, you know, in every other team sport, right? Would be a hockey or football and the NBA as well and basketball. So it kind of brings that little bit of tension, right? I'm curious to see if Duncan is going to set a date limit for these kind of transactions, because nearing the end of the season, we might be seeing some interesting moves that maybe some teams would like to... there's a moment here. Oh, we just saw Marc-Olivier Bastien. He almost lost it, and he's got to squeeze out Chad Swindle, and there's contact between the two. And who goes in front? It's Aaron Altmaier. He's now P3. And Marc-Olivier Bastien had a little bit of a moment. His rear tires are completely burnt up, and Chad Swindle tried to take advantage of it. There was contact between the two. The Aston Martin driver took advantage of that. Goes for the double overtake, and Marc-Olivier is going to be trying everything to get back up in front, and he's going to be driving... Oh, he's driving mad right now. Look at him go on it on the ERS. Does Chad have the ERS to follow? He doesn't. Marc-Olivier goes on the inside. Into turn one, they go. Will there be another contact? Oh, he's having issues. I think his tires are just completely cooked in the rear, possibly. He misses his apex, and that is it. Marc-Olivier Bastien loses 2 positions due to a previous moment he had on his own. There was no necessarily contact that initiated the whole situation, and now Marc-Olivier Bastien goes from a podium position to P5.
I mean, no, I don't even know if it's wheel issues, because I saw him and the Red Bull making contact through both times they went side by side, so maybe a bit of a, I don't want to say ticketable offense, but, you know, it's Rubens racing, I guess. That definitely switches it up a bit, though, because we have Aaron Altmaier in the podium position now. I didn't expect to be talking to this man in the booth, but hopefully we can, because, you know, Chad Swindell, we've been looking at him as a very quick driver, and it's just up to whether he can catch Aaron Altmaier in time or not. Both at around the same battery percentage. As still, I'm actually looking at the battle in front right now. Every time Era's gone down the straight, he's gone very far to the right side to try and break the toe. But the thing is, Cody Lawrence is at a point where he's close enough to just be following him through and be getting the same advantage. And so we might have a very big battle cooking up right now. 49% battery for Cody Lawrence, 21 for Eric Cavallo.
Yeah, and that's what's going on right now. So Eric Cavallo is at a disadvantage with the ERS. Cody Lawrence is going to be at a great advantage compared to him, and so we kind of inversed the roles right before the pit strategy. So the pit strategies were done. It was completely reversed. It was Eric Cavallo on P2 with the kind of battery difference, and now looking at Aaron Altmaier, if he does not get into DRS within 1 second of Cody, he may be setting himself vulnerable to Chad Swindell and Marc-Olivier Bastien behind him. So that is not over yet for those 3 drivers. We're seeing a Mercedes driver in the back, that is Hector Ochoa, so he's being lapped currently as multiple drivers in the back. I'm trying to see, are those lap drivers? It's Colin Edwards who's kind of holding back Quentin K and Jakub Karsowicz, and Quentin K might be making a move this time on the main straight. It doesn't look like Cody Lawrence is making a move. Oh, he did use a little bit more ERS to catch up to Era, but not enough to really make the move. Back with Quentin, there's going to be side-by-side action here with the Williams and the Alpine, and there's Jakub Karsowicz trying to take advantage of that situation. Will he be able to do so? It's Jakub Karsowicz with a double overtake. He does it. Quentin K, Colin Edwards both lose positions to the Red Bull driver. Jakub Karsowicz is in P6. That is 2 double overtakes in 2 laps.
We might even see another one here with Christmas and Philemon Goulet having a little bit of battle here. I don't think Maxime Bellier is going through fast enough, though. And right now, this would actually be a perfect time to be looking into the Mercedes strategy. And luckily, we can do just that by bringing on the man himself, Carl Behrens, the team principal of Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 team. Welcome, Carl Behrens, to the broadcast booth.
Thank you.
Carl, we're just going to raise your audio just a second here before we ask you the question. Carl, what is going on with Cody, and what are you thinking the strategy is going to be made, or when the overtake is going to be made? We're looking for at a last move overtake. Actually, Cody Lawrence is full on the battery. He's completely using it. He looked on the inside there on Era, but it's not happening. And now he's been using a lot more battery here to fight Era, and it's not happening here. What's going on, Carl?
He's given everything he can. We're just trying to force Era to use. We know Cody has a battery advantage on Era, but it's Cody's trying everything he can. Era is not slow today.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Cody's actually starting to lose that battery advantage that he has right now. He still got it, but only just right now. 3/10 the gap. We have probably only 2 good overtaking opportunities left in this entire race. Do you think he'll be able to pull it off?
I think he will. I have faith in Cody. He knows what he's doing. This track is just so hard to overtake. But he's been charging for the last couple of laps, and he's just gotta hopefully, he just has to hope that Era runs out of battery before he does.
Thank you, Kyle. We're gonna go into the last lap heroics here as Zera is gonna entering his 36th lap here, trying to defend against Cody. Thank you for your time here.
No worries.
So we'll have you back in the booth in a moment here. Cody Lawrence is trying to use the ERS. Both drivers in the front have no more battery, but there's also battles going on in the back. Chad Swindle has got the overtake done on Aaron Altmaier. Into turn 1 they go. Chad Swindle's in the podium position. There he goes in P3, overtaking on the Aston Martin driver. In the back, there was also a potential battle between Jakub Karswich and Quinton K. Quinton K still has a 5-second penalty, so he's going to be dropping back behind multiple drivers, actually. Maybe even behind, he's going to go down even to P9 so far. We're at the last lap battle. In we go with Eric Cavallo, Cody Lawrence. There's only 2 tenths separating them. We're in lap 36 and around turns, what is that? Turn 9, I believe. 9 and 10 here. They go, and there's going to be a little bit of a back straight here with the DRS. There's not much ERS strategy going on here. Cody's on it. He's going to try to stick to Era as much as possible, and Era seems to have got some distance on the Mercedes. Will he be able to keep that strategy, to keep that advantage on him? It's Eric Cavallo going around turns 13 for the first time this season. Will Eric Cavallo be able to cross the line in P1? Here he goes in turns 14. It looks like he's going to have it done, and Eric Cavallo is our race winner here in Zandvoort. Cody Lawrence in P2 right behind him. What a race from the Haas driver. What a battle with Cody Lawrence. Chad Swindle with last lap heroics. Here he goes in P3. Aaron Altmaier P4. Marc-Olivier Bastien P5. Jakub Karswich P6. An amazing race from him as well. Marcel Pabst in the McLaren for a second race in a row. He goes high into the points in top 10s. He's P7. Colin Edwards, a reserve driver. I think he completely ran out of battery. Maybe even lost a position to Marcel Pabst there. Here he goes in P8, a little bit unfortunate for him, but a great performance nonetheless. Quinton K, unfortunately, with that 5-second penalty, drops to P9. We've got Max in P10. Philemon Goulet, the second Alfa Romeo driver, P11. Maxime Beaulieu, P12. Kyle Blevins in P13. Magnussen is going around turns 14. He's about to cross the line. He's going to be P14. And into the wall he does go. He's going to leave a little bit of a gift for the fans here. Anybody want to pick up a wing, it'll be right there at the start-finish straight. If you get there faster than Logan Dukes. And Logan Dukes is crossing the line as it is now, P15. And that is the end of tonight's race in ZRL. What a finish. Nathan, Eric Cavallo is our race winner tonight. Wow. Driver of the day goes to Max, who had a lot of overtakes done tonight. I'm out of breath after that last lap action.
Yeah, absolutely amazing that Eric Cavallo could hold off Cody Lawrence to get his first win of the season. Just amazing job. And across the line, there's a bunch of action, and we saw Colin Edwards running out of fuel across the line. He lost position to Marcel Pabst, as you had said, and it all happened across the line. We even saw Chad Swindell going around the outside into turn 1 on the final lap to get his podium position, stealing it away from Aaron Altmaier on the last lap. So, a bit unlucky for him. I was hoping to have him in the booth today, but just what a race as it came down to the dying embers here. I mean, just good action from everyone. Clean action too. We saw multiple double overtakes. It's just amazing racecraft from Division 1 here.
Yeah, that is the highlight of this week with the double overtake done by Chad Swindell and no, not Chad Swindell, sorry, Aaron Altmaier, the double overtake, and then the other Red Bull driver of Jakub Karswich, as we seen earlier. So we're gonna have interviews in just a moment between starting with Chad Swindell, our brand new driver here in ZRL, for the second time technically, because we've seen him in the podium in Bahrain, I believe. So we're gonna have him back here in the booth. Official as a Red Bull driver, Cody Lawrence in P2, Eric Cavallo in P1. We're gonna go into interview mode. We'll just be with you in just a moment when the interviewees are ready.
Well, I mean, what can I say? I wanted Eric Cavallo. The Red Bull driver for the second time this season. Mr. Chad Swindell has taken a podium for the second time this season in a Red Bull. How does it feel, Mr. Chad Swindell?
Pretty good. I'm happy with it. Considering where I started, I'll take it.
Chad, we're otherwise known as Sweeney G. I think you had your first race here this season in Bahrain, and if I'm not mistaken, you also had a podium. But this one is officially as a Red Bull, and having to fill in, you have to fill in Hudson Pool's shoes at this moment. And here you go with your first podium. What have been the comments from the Red Bull team so far? I don't know if Duncan's nearby, if he's been with you in that race engineering wise or not. But what is the emotions going through, and walk us through obviously the end of the race, which was a little bit more hectic, and you also had to fight for quite a long time between Aaron. There's a fight between you, Aaron, and Marc Olivier.
Yeah. So emotions for the team. I think we're pretty happy with it. We got P3, P6 so far. Might be some penalties in there, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm overall pretty happy with the race. The fights were pretty good. It's really just a DRS train around here, so it's hard to make up ground. But I'm happy with going from, I think I started in 5th or 6th, and I got to 3rd, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, so, I mean, with the caliber of the driver that you are, I mean, 2 races, 2 podiums, do you think that you'll be able to challenge for even the championship at this rate, or do you think that maybe you have just a bit too much work to do?
Yeah, I mean, if Cody keeps putting in good performances, it's going to be tough. I'm definitely going to give it all I can, but still haven't even beat Cody yet, so we got to do that first.
That's what I like to hear.
Absolutely, Sweeney. Final question, how are you looking forward to next week's race? Next week being at Abu Dhabi.
I'm looking forward to it. It's probably one of my worst tracks in the game, but I'll put in a ton of hours and I'll see what I can get. But the rest of the season is looking good for me.
Absolutely, and just for our Zero viewers, if you hear Division 1 driver, it's not their track. Expect him to win the race. That's it.
Nah, I don't think so, but we'll see.
All right, thank you, Sweeney. Congratulations on your P3 finish here. I'll let you go celebrate with your Red Bull Boya team.
All right, thank you.
Alright, so P2 man for the, well, yeah, it'd be the first time this season because he got 5th last time.
Yeah.
He did not win. We have Mr. Cody Lawrence here for Mercedes P2. How are you feeling about it?
A little fortunate. If you might call me crazy, but a little fortunate.
You're gonna have to explain why, sir.
I felt like I had pace for 5th or 6th today. I was lucky to start 2nd. Good job to Era on pole. Congrats to Era. He had me well beat on pace, both quali and race. Very lucky I was on the front row at the start because I knew Sweeney and Quentin could go faster. Got lucky as the leader after the start phase. I got a decent start, and it kind of made myself look a little better than I actually was, because I would have told you at least 4 of the cars behind me were quicker. I just felt like the cork in the bottle that first stint. But Era got me in the pit cycle, right before the pit cycle, and then I had like 40% more battery at some stage at the end, and he's just quicker. So feel a little lucky. I didn't think I'd pace for P2 even. So
Most definitely, it looks like you did. Throughout the entirety of the race, you were like leading up until the pit strategies, right? You had Era behind you, and we noticed a difference in the ERS battery with you and Era. It completely reversed after the pit strategy. Were you maybe a little bit surprised to see Era come out in front of you once you tried the undercut on him?
Oh no, I just didn't have a good outlap. Voss nearly got me, Marc Olivier nearly got me on the undercut attempt he tried. That was actually, I was kind of hoping they weren't going to go 17. I was going to hope they were going to go, I was kind of hoping they'd wait till lap 19, because I was thinking boxing to cover an undercut attempt off 18, maybe 19. But, yeah, I mean, it would surprise me because no, Era had very, very strong pace. So, like I said, well done to him. Full congrats to him. I gave that to him before I hopped in here, but it can't be understated. He was very strong. Well earned that one.
Yeah, I mean, so with this being your first second place finish of the season so far, I mean, we've seen that you've had just a tiny bit of competition. I mean, name a few people. Like, your competition, who do you think it would be? I mean, obviously, you've got Era, even the likes of maybe Chad Swindell. I mean, he said that his first step of success is going to be to beat you. So, yeah, just what do you think of that overall?
It's a very strong, I would say, kind of, what's the word for it? Maybe like a strong top six sextet, if that's the right word for it. I could be wrong, but I'd say Era. I'd say I would say Quinn. I would say Chad. Marc Olivier's looked pretty solid. Aaron had himself a pretty good run up there today. Marcel, perhaps he can do a good lap. I mean, it really comes down to track by track. I'd say there's like a top six that can do things, but you could throw top 10 in a hat and put the order as that. Wouldn't be all that surprising. So there's a lot of competition. I don't underrate people if I can help it. So we'll see. We'll see. In that regard, there's still competition. It's not a tiny bit. I had to work my butt off for P2 there for sure today.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're gonna have to see how much you're gonna have to work for potentially another podium so far, because that seems to be the storyline for you this season, which is podium places, whichever one of them be this season so far. So next race in Abu Dhabi, we'll see you there, Cody, and possibly have the chance for another interview.
We'll see about that. With how everyone's been picking up speed here, who knows? I may not even be on the podium. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna underrate people, because today was kind of, there's some work to do for me, definitely. I feel like I just missed a bit of feeling with the car. That's no good, but try to make it back next week. So thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Cody.
Bye-bye.
Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, we have the man of the evening, the race winner. For the first time this season, Eric Cavalli has won a race, and he's here in the booth now. How are you feeling, Mr. Eric Cavalli?
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
All right.
Hey there.
Please just be careful with the swearing, but I think somebody's happy with his win tonight.
Yeah, that is just Nate Diaz. Okay, guys. Good evening. What a race. I think it was my best race in a long while. And I think it's the first time I beat Cody in the F1 22. I did beat him a lot in F1 21, but the first time, I guess, on 22, if I'm not mistaken. I think, yeah, hot restart. The qualifying was my personal best. The car was amazing. I had 38-30. I had lots of rotation, especially on the corner before the sector 2 and the fourth corner. I guess rotation was very good, but it was risky, so I didn't keep it for the race. For the race, I used lower wings, front wings, and that saved me because Cody had more wings and he didn't had a good top speed. And it saved me by the end because the speed losing time on the last corner to him, I had a good top speed, and it saved me because I think he had more battery. He was duck sitting behind me. I knew he was preparing an attack. Holy shit, I'm always with it. Was a very, very hard race, but I think I lost traction like 2 or 3 times, but the speed that I did everything perfectly. Everything. That's it. That's the win for us. We will keep on. We will try to fight for the championship, like I told you guys the last time.
Yeah.
I hope there's tracks that you can't beat Cody. He is very fast. He's an experienced driver. The guy is like a legend on the USA. We all know it. So yeah, I hope some tracks we can give him a good battle. and challenge him for the win, like today.
Absolutely, Aaron. If you're talking about standings, I'm looking at it real quick. You may have overtaken. Actually, I'm not gonna say may. I think you most probably have overtaken Marc-Olivier Bastien for P3, maybe even Quinton for P2, in the drivers' championship. So that puts you up there as a contender for beating Cody. But you spoke about constructors' championship, and I want to bring that subject to you because currently, on the standings, we don't see you having a teammate. So I don't think Marcel Green's coming back. And so constructors, you need 2 drivers getting points for that to work out properly. Do you have any insight to give us about that? Is there maybe another driver who you're eyeing that you want to bring in as a teammate, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, we need to fix that. I'm going to talk to Beamer. I really need a teammate to make some good points, because alone it's impossible to fight for the constructors championship. We will talk this week about this. Try to get one good driver, full time to the Haas. And about the championship, to be honest, I think it's very hard to beat Cody because he's very experienced. Like I said, the guy is consistent on the results, like second place, first place, second. He's always on the podium, so it's very hard to take out points from him. But not impossible. We will try. I think for the championship, it's probably going to be me, Cody, and Quinton. I think we 3 are going to fight for wins. So far, I saw this championship, but everybody is very fast in this grid. If you saw someone who's running now on the top 10 winning a race, it will not be a surprise.
Well, I got no words to that. I mean, like we said, now we got the Air Cavallo F1 team right now in Division 1, like we saw a few seasons ago with the Alpine team. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just great performance from you tonight. You've done major job for Haas as well, so just want to say great job for you as well.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Thank you, Aaron, for that, and we'll see you on another podium soon, because if you keep on the roll, you can have another podium the next week in Abu Dhabi.
I'm not sure because it's a track I don't like, so I'll try a podium there, but it will be very hard to challenge Cody and Quinton for the win. I'm almost sure I will not be in contention for the win there. It's a track, one of my worst tracks. Like Netherlands is one of my best tracks. It's on my top 3 tracks. And Abu Dhabi is my worst track. There's nothing I can say more than this. Let's try. I don't know. Let's try a podium there, maybe.
Absolutely. Well, Aaron, I'll leave you go on this thing to think about. Every single driver we've interviewed tonight told us exactly the same thing. Abu Dhabi is not their best track. They're going to have to work really hard on it. And so you had the same equal playing field as Cody and Sweeney G, who we had in interviews this week. All right, thank you for your time, and we'll see you potentially next week or the next time we get a podium.
Thank you. Good night, guys.
Well, I mean, the fastest driver tonight and clearly the most humble as well. Yeah, that's been the race tonight. Got good input from our podium drivers today. What's your take on it, John Ranger?
I think I called it about midway through the race where I said expect moves to be made after the pit strategy. The closer we got to the end of the race, the more the intensity was rising, and I think the Division 1 drivers delivered in that regards, and they gave us quite a spectacular finish. We had 2 double overtakes in one race, and I can't wait to go ahead and clip that and we'll see the replays of those, because they were pretty interesting as well. Next week in Abu Dhabi, it's another track. I think this track will allow a lot more overtakes than in Netherlands. It's a lot wider track with a lot more opportunities to overtake with a double DRS zone. I'm thinking Abu Dhabi's gonna have a lot of sparks flying, and we could see anything happen there. And Division 1 is going to deliver, as always. I'm really excited to broadcast next week's race as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to be there with you, hopefully. And I mean, yeah, like you said, Abu Dhabi, a very good overtaking track, a good finale to the season normally, like we see in
Yeah.
the real world. But I mean, with a race like this, I think this will be a real like we'll be able to see if the drivers really have what it takes to just be very consistent in every type of track that they face. I mean, obviously Abu Dhabi is very unique in the way that it's fast and flowing and very slow at times as well, very mechanical as well.
Yep.
It's just, yeah, going to see the best out of all of these drivers, hopefully, or we're just going to see a bunch of spinning drivers, specifically the Williams. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, Nathan. Thank you again for doing the color commentating on this broadcast. Great having you as a partner here for Division 1. To all who's still watching after the interviews, don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. We'll see you next weekend in ZRL. Let's not forget, we've got 3 divisions of racing. Saturdays at 8 is Division 3. Saturday at 10, it follows the Division 3 race for Division 2. And obviously Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's not forget the Eastern part of that. It will be your Division 1 challenge going on here in Abu Dhabi next week. That will be on April 30th. Thank you so much, everybody who was watching. We bid you good night. Thank you again for being here, Nathan, and I'll see you next week.